Hey family, Coach JB here. What we're going to talk about today is 3 hormones you need to learn to regulate to have fat loss. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back. Excited to take you on this journey and the things that I've learned over 21 years in the fitness industry. Now what we do know is when you want to lose fat, there's some important factors. Number 1, you have to be in a caloric deficit. We've talked about this in other YouTube videos or on Facebook here. Basically, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit every day for 7 days, 3,500 calorie deficit for the week. You'll lose 1 pound per week. So if you want to lose weight, eat less food, exercise more. Pretty simple, right? Well, it really isn't that simple sometimes. There is some complexity that comes into it, and there's some factors that you need to understand a little bit deeper in order to get yourself on track. Now, I wish it was just that easy. You eat less food, you exercise more, you lose weight. There's a couple other things we need to look at in order to have fat loss and sustain that fat loss, and also have healthy fat loss, so that when you lose the fat, you can sustain it for the rest of your life and make it a lifestyle. If you worked with me as a coach, or I do online coaching for you, or in person here in Mesa, Arizona, you know I talk a lot about hormones, probably in nauseam. The reason I do is because I've been on both sides of the coin. You know, I've been a bodybuilder, competitive bodybuilder. I also messed up my endocrine system, and by doing that, I went into internal health and studying internal health and how the body and endocrine system works and how I could get my hormones back on track, because I knew that if I didn't get these back on track, this was not going to happen. So I want to break down 3 hormones that you need to learn to control. And when you learn to master these 3 hormones, you're going to have some amazing fat loss. I'm also going to give you some advice. Remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm no guru. This is all from experiential standpoint, in my opinion, of how you can shred fat loss. But if you work with me as a client, we're going to talk a lot about hormones, because you need to understand why. Why are you holding body fat? It's not just the fact that you need to eat less calories and exercise more. There's some issues within your body that you may need to deal with and address, and you need to understand in order to sustain your fat loss. So let's break it down quickly. There's 3 hormones in your body that are responsible, or heavy hormones that are responsible for fat loss. Number 1, growth hormone. Number 1, fat burning hormone. Number 2, insulin. Have you ever seen that Mucinex commercial with that big green globby monster? Go ahead and picture insulin that. I'm gonna explain that in just a moment. Cortisol. What is cortisol? If you don't know, I'm going to break all 3 of these down. These 3 hormones right here are all 3 hormones that you need to learn to regulate in order to have fat loss and sustain fat loss. So let's break them all down. I'm going to start with insulin. To make it simple, insulin is carbohydrates. You have your donuts, rice, bread, pasta. We know what insulin is. It's carbohydrates. So picture a candy bar, potato, all these yummy things, right, that come into our system. It's not that you can't eat that stuff. It's how you eat it, or when you eat it, in the pattern that you eat it, in order to allow your body to uptake it. So that's insulin. Cortisol is a stress hormone. This thing is a monster as well. These 2 right here, if they're working together, it's game over. You're not going to burn body fat. So cortisol is a stress hormone. So when you're pulling your hair out, running an international company or whatever you do, maybe you're an executive, stay-at-home mom, when this is high, you're going to struggle to lose body fat. These 2 right here can stop the fat burning process. Now, the counterpart, the superhero. These are the villains, and this is the superhero right here, growth hormone. This sucker right here is the number 1 fat burning hormone in your body. When this is high, boom, it's game time. That's why you see people that exercise a lot, their skin looks great, their hair grows fast, their nails look great. You're like, oh, you're glowing. You're on a workout program, exercise program. The reason is because they're properly regulating these 2 hormones, reducing stress through diet and exercise. Through diet and exercise, insulin is lower. Their body's able to regulate carbohydrates properly. Their GH is through the roof, and they're glowing. So it sounds easy, right? It is easy. Let me help you break this down. What I've learned through an experiential standpoint, how I train my clients, and what works for me personally, let me explain. I make sure this is jacked up as much as possible. I'm 42 years old. I learned to regulate this, so this is high. So let me explain. When this is high, boom, this goes down. When insulin is present, the dominant hormone, this goes down. There's just science. That's what happens. This goes up, this goes down. So when this is present, this is not going to be high, your number one fat burning hormone. When this is high, fat burning stops. So when your cortisol level is high, it's very hard to burn fat. When you have too much insulin or excess insulin, it fills up your muscle stores in your liver, it spills over into your fat cells, your growth hormone is low. All right, so now we know the 3 hormones that are responsible for fat burning. Lowering your cortisol level, diet, exercise, meditation, taking a deep breath, you can lower your cortisol levels. Insulin is through nutrition. What I recommend, and all my clients are on this, is a 16-hour fasted window. Not eating, but eating in a pattern of 8 hours and 16 hours fasted. Now, why would you do that, John? It is proven scientifically that when you intermittent fast for up to 16 hours, growth hormone goes through the roof and you create insulin resistance. So your body can regulate carbohydrates properly. Here's why. So when you go into about a 12-hour fasted state, that's about when the average person goes into a fasted state. Couple things happen. If you don't eat for another 4 hours, your body has to make a decision. It's used to you bringing insulin into the tank, right? Insulin comes into the body. When insulin's present, growth hormone goes down. Well, at that 12th hour, when there's nothing in your system, there's no insulin present, your growth hormone goes up, right? With no insulin present, there's no fuel source. So our bodies are extremely efficient. So it has to search around for a fuel source. Well, if you're hitting a workout and you're lifting weights, it's going to deplete your muscle glycogen. Insulin converts into glycogen in your system. Now, your liver also stores glycogen. It's one of the biggest storage tanks. So if you have no insulin, you have high GH, your body is going to deplete your glycogen and liver stores. Now, if it empties those, where's it going to go next? The next place your body stores glycogen or excess glucose is in your fat cells. So now it's going to move from your muscle stores to your liver stores that are empty and goes into your fat cells. Then when you eat, because you're in a fasted state, your body now has insulin resistance. When you bring in carbohydrates or insulin, your body is going to suck it up into the right places. Because remember, your muscle store is empty now, your liver is empty, so it needs to be replenished. So when you eat carbohydrates, a fuel source, it's going to put it in the right spot to be used for energy later. It's that simple. So here's the 3 things you need to regulate. You need to make sure you're regulating your insulin and not taking in insulin, carbohydrates, consistently and constantly without burning it, right? You need to regulate your stress through diet, exercise, meditation, taking a deep breath, and you need to make sure this is jacked up all the time. So these are the 3 hormones you need to learn to regulate in order to burn fat. If you need any help, you have any questions, don't hesitate to direct message me. As I say, I'm not a guru. I'm not some guru out here. I'm someone who does this from an experiential standpoint, who trains many clients on how to regulate insulin, increase growth hormone, and keep your stress levels down. So if this information impacted you in any way, please hit the like button, leave a comment. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.